Welcome to the Scale Your Business Better with Tech podcast. I am your host, Jay Farr at Tech Fusion Systems. Our guest is HR Huntsman from Your Leader's Edge. HR, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to it.
My pleasure. Can you kick us off and give us a brief overview of Your Leader's Edge and what you guys do?
Oh, goodness. I guess to boil it down to a nutshell, we help scale companies. Two different types of companies in two different situations usually call for us and ask for our help. Companies that are growing rapidly and they need to scale and provide infrastructure for that growth. And then companies that are stuck and they've hit a bit of a ceiling, they call us up and ask us to break through that ceiling and that stuckness and figure out how to scale and grow from there. So that's what we do in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's excellent. I think that happens a lot, and something that I've come to understand more on my journey in working with clients in a lot of different businesses is, and Alex Hormozy says this a lot, there's different seasons, there's different chapters in the story, right? So as a business matures and grows, the rules of the game change a bit, right? And so it seems with that idea, it's easy to get stuck, isn't it? Because what you're doing that's working for a while, eventually it doesn't have the same effectiveness anymore, and the rules change a bit, and sometimes that really throws you off. So how do you help your clients when they get to that stuck point? How do you help them get unstuck?
What we see, and Jay, I'm sure you see this a lot in what you do, is that the clients we work with, they're good at what they do. They're good at HVAC or plumbing or brain surgery. We work with a lot of medical clinics or a lot of construction. They're good at that thing. They're experts in their industry. But what they've never studied is organizational strategy or organizational psychology, how humans work together. So they've never studied the things that actually build a successful human organization. And that's where they get stuck. They're great with their skills, but they simply haven't been trained or shown how to actually provide the scaffolding or the infrastructure or the strategy forward. So what we do is we come in and look at what we identify as the 6 most important and basic systems of a business. And the way we talk about it is the foundation system, your vision, mission, and values, your team building systems, how you onboard and train and hire, how you retain, your retention strategy, the strategy itself. Do you have a value prop and a value chain, performance, accountability? The 6 major systems of any business will come in and analyze it, and then we work with the leadership team or sometimes the entire managerial structure on improving each one of those 6 systems.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're bringing up the word strategy already, because I think that's most of the time that's always lacking with the way that we work with clients from a technology standpoint. And we also always look at that foundation, that first layer, because you're going to build on top of that. So I always just explain it that way. We're building a house, or maybe a pyramid is more accurate. If that first layer isn't put down and really planned out well, you're going to have problems moving forward. Can you maybe bring us through some of that foundation, some of the things that you do that have to be thought about and planned out to get that good solid foundation that you can build on top of?
You bet. And this is where we start with any client that comes with us. We ask them about their foundations, and we always talk about vision, mission, and value statements. And sometimes it's funny, people roll their eyes and what good is a statement like that? Just put a poster on a wall, or they've already done it and it's a plaque in the library or in the break room or whatever, but it's not institutional. It's not in the DNA. And what's important to this, Jay, is they don't have an identity of who they are. And then we see that later in the messaging. It doesn't come through in any kind of marketing. It doesn't come through in any kind of messaging. There's no real identity. There's no real why or purpose or meaning behind what they do. And we can always tell when an organization doesn't have good purpose or meaning, and they think they can get people to work just on the widget or for the pay without the deeper driver of meaning. So we come in and lay the foundation and really help them identify, what is your identity? What is your true vision about why you do what you do? What sets you apart from people in your industry? What are your differentiators? What do you believe you're unique at and the best in the area? And so we lay those foundations, have those conversations that we build on later in the marketing strategy and in all of the teamwork. We can rally around what we call that true north kind of foundational concept.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I've worked with a lot of small businesses, and I come from a blue collar beginnings. So I worked with a lot of car mechanics, and I used to build houses and do all kinds of stuff. And
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have been in that culture where those people, like you said, they're experts in what they do. They're the best at what they do. They're very good at it,
Right.
and they care about what they do in most cases. But they sometimes don't see the importance of some of those things you were talking
That's
about
right.
what your company values are, why you do what you do, what makes you different. And it's funny because from a technology standpoint, we do a lot of copywriting, we do a lot of sales funnels, a lot of call funnels. So we're doing a lot of ads as well. And so what you put in your copy about what makes you different and what makes you special, it's very meaningful and it can double, triple your conversion rates. And like you said, it really is important to have that throughout the company DNA, like
Yeah.
throughout the culture, if you will. Do you find that's really lacking in most businesses?
Oh, it's incredibly lacking. Let me give you a fantastic example of this. So, this large RV company here in Washington State invited us in to come help them. They were stuck at 50 million and they're getting their butts kicked by their nearest competitor just across the street. So, our first meeting, we come in and it's their leadership team. There's 12 of their executives there. And so I began asking the question, what do you do? Like, tell me what you do. And they said, we sell RVs. And I just shook my head. I said, no, you don't. That's not what you do. And they're looking at each other. Yes, that's what we do. I said, no, it's actually not what you do. And one of them said, didn't you research us before you came in? Like you just some suit, just some consultant? I said, guys, that's not what you do. Let's talk about what you actually do. And one of them joked and said, yeah, we sell fifth wheels as well, not just RVs, but fifth wheels. And after about an hour, I got them to realize what you actually do is provide amazing travel experiences for families. And that's what you do. The selling of the RVs is just a mechanism to get families together with these great travel experiences. So we began writing down their vision statement as we want to help create amazing family travel experiences. Now, which is more compelling, Jay? Do you want to go to work to a place where what do? We sell RVs or we sell amazing travel experiences for families. So we begin to incorporate that into all of their team meetings and all their sales meetings and all their marketing messages. And they went from 50 million to 100 million in just a few years because they really began. There's an understanding, a deeper understanding of how we can connect with our clients by getting to understand our identity. So, yes, to answer your question, most companies don't think this through. They don't think through the deeper why of how we can connect to a potential client and not just pest control company, we kill rats and bugs. I said, no, you don't. You protect homes and families. Same thing. I think a lot of people lose sight of at the core level what we actually do. Do we sell cars or do we provide travel solutions? So, yes, most companies don't actually know what they do at the fundamental human level.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's very common. What the offer is or what you do is very lacking. It's usually a lot of tunnel vision. I think that
Sure.
most businesses, they're just, what's the saying? You can't see the forest from the trees. You're in it too deep. You can't see it from the customer's point of view. The customer doesn't want an RV. They want to take their family on a wonderful weekend vacation where they can connect and build memories and take amazing photos.
That's
That's
right.
what they want. They're going to use an RV to do it,
That's
but that's
right.
not what they want. So you need to think about what the customer really wants and
Yeah.
you need to sell them what they want, not how to get there.
So that's what our foundation system is. We take people back to the ground level and help them really identify who we are, what we actually do, and how we can really connect with our target market.
Yeah, that's it's so important. And like you said, it really is that foundational because it comes through in everything. It comes through in the culture, your team meetings. It comes through what do your salespeople say these to your customers, your
Yeah.
prospects? What do your marketing, what kind of copy is your marketing team writing? What about all of your ads, all of your brochures? So
Right.
it comes through in
All of
everything.
every
Yeah.
who we hire. Do we want to hire people who believe what we believe? Do we want to hire people who believe that having amazing travel experiences is a beautiful thing to offer? So it helps in our hiring, in our onboarding, everything. We want to hire people that believe what we believe in.
Yeah, it's such a fundamental thing, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on. I think that obviously this does take some work, right? It doesn't
Sure.
happen in an hour or two,
Oh,
but with
it
that
does.
being said, the return on investment is incredible,
Yeah.
right? Would you agree with that?
Well, like I said, just that RV company went from 50 million to 100 million in the 3 years that we worked with them,
Yeah.
because they really begin to embrace some deeper level things of how they can, everything you just said, this holistic approach around everything we do is focused on this true north, our identity. It changed everything for them and it helped them break through the ceiling. And we see it everywhere we go. Our work is usually 10 to 12x ROI on whatever people invest in us. And I can give you lots of examples of companies that have tripled in revenue and team size in 3 to 5 years. And just tremendous growth when you really focus on what you're doing.
Yeah. I see a lot of talk about just in business in general. I see a lot of talk about the shiny things like let's do Facebook ads or let's do direct mail or let's do cold email or let's cold call. They're focused on the thing,
That's
not
right.
the strategy because all of those things can work if they have
Sure.
the right strategy, but none of them will work without a good strategy.
Jay,
Um,
you're exactly right. That is
it's so
100%.
common, isn't it? Because I think it's easy to point at a thing and go, "Oh, that's the thing we should do. Let's just do that."
Yeah.
Instead of taking a step back and going, "I think we need a strategy. We need to think about this a little more." And that's where people like you and I can help them do that
Yeah.
because that's what we specialize in. And like you said, like people that are experts in their field, they're not necessarily experts in all of the different facets of things that a business has to have a high skill level at. And there's so many things, which is daunting, isn't it? Okay, you run a business and you sell RVs. Okay, great, but you don't think about all the other skill sets that are needed to really make that run like a well-oiled machine.
That's that's fantastic that you said that, because that's the phrase we use. Our biggest program is the Leaders Edge Performance Engine, and we talk about these systems working together like a well-oiled machine. All these gears meshing together, these six major systems meshing together. And you're right, most C-suite people, business owners, especially small businesses, they haven't stepped back or don't have the skill set to step back and look at how all those systems are working together in a comprehensive way. Exactly like you said, they'll jump on the most recent bandwagon or they reach for the shiny penny, and they haven't put it all together in a holistic, comprehensive manner for sure. And that's where we come in to help them do that.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
go.
hard to have the time. They don't have the time either. We're not saying that a person couldn't be good at all of those things. You
Sure.
could, but you wouldn't have any time to run your business. And I struggle with the same thing. I'm sure you do as well. Like I continue as I go to learn and run into new challenges once in a while. I'm like, that's new. I better
Absolutely.
learn a lot about this really quickly. And so that's just
Yeah.
part of the journey, I guess you'd say.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of our core values at Leaders Edge is teachability. We are lifelong learners. I'm a coach to dozens and dozens of business owners, but I have my own coach. I'm 58 years old, but I'm still very curious. I have a lot to learn. There's most I don't know. So absolutely still learning. Let me go back to your strategy point though. Our research shows us that only 11% of companies have a comprehensive business strategy. So when you said most companies don't have strategy, you're right. About 89% don't have any kind of true comprehensive business strategy. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is. And again, I think it's due to mostly lack of resources. It's hard to run your business, run your team, do the sales, oversee everything, do the finance, and then somehow have time to step back and become a business coach on the side. And let's be honest, you can't do that. It took me 15 years just to get very skilled at the technology side, and that's all I've done.
Right.
And so
Right.
the competition is so fierce and the number of skill sets that you really need to build that well-oiled machine are so long that you do need to bring in outside people who are specialized in those fields to speed up your learning curve, right?
Right. That's why we have specialists and professionals. We hire professionals to do professional work. I wouldn't really want to paint my house or fix my engine or take out my gallbladder. You hire professionals to do professional work.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to do any of those things either.
Right?
I used to do some of those things, but
Yeah.
I'm not as good at it as someone I could hire to do it who does it all the time. And that's really the point is time and money are both important resources. and I don't have the time to become a really good expert painter. I've done lots of painting. I'm okay at it, but I'm not great at it,
That's
and it would take me 3 times longer. So,
that's right.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. What's the best way for people to contact you and to find out if you can help them in their business if they feel a little stuck or they want to see
Sure.
what you would suggest to get that growth going again?
Absolutely. Yeah, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn for sure. Find me there, HR Huntsman. You can email me at hr@yourleadersedge.com. And I would love to have a chat with any business owner or leader that is looking to scale or get unstuck.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Any other points you want to go over? Any sort of big picture strategy stuff maybe you want to give to the audience to have them ponder or think about, or maybe a
Sure.
tip they can implement right now to start getting those wheels turning a little bit?
Yeah, sure. That's good. And I'm going to refer to what you do. I like your approach a lot. Your approach, I've watched several of your podcasts, your approach of the technology mixed with the human element. I think that's key. We can and should absolutely leverage technology, AI, systems, processes, automation, but we cannot, and I know you agree with this. I've heard you say it. We cannot lose sight of the human connection more than ever, even though we feel like we're more connected than ever via social media, psychologically, we're not. We're more disconnected than ever. And the companies that understand how to do two things, connect with humans and have high accountability, those are the companies we see that are succeeding. They're the ones that are thriving in a very tough labor market. So those two things we preach everywhere we go: high connection, high accountability. The leaders and the cultures that can do that, they're the ones that win.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. And it's funny because I don't do a lot of the human element on the consulting side, but I certainly recognize it. And I have had clients where they have had some of those issues and they want to do some automation and we would love to do it. But I have had cases where I'd say to them, we'd love to do this, but I really think you got to get your sales team fixed up before we go down that road
Good.
because your return on investment is going to be so much higher after you have that in place. And I think doing it now, it'd be a lot of lost opportunities. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree with you 100%. And HR Huntsman, thank you so much. Your leader's edge. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks, my friend. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.